Alright guys, hey, welcome back to 3 Minute Internet, a podcast about video games and just general shit you'll find around the internet. I'm Chris.
I'm Rory.
I'm Chad.
And boy, do we have a very light news week for you, but a lot of game talk coming. As most of you know, the Overwatch open beta has started for the world, and we have been playing quite a bit of it, so expect a lot of talk about that. But not only that, this week we have tons and tons and tons of news about other FPS games coming out later this year. So let's go on ahead and kind of just jump into it. Right off the bat, we've all been playing Overwatch, so we'll get to that. But what else have you guys been playing? Because it's kind of the same. So we'll start with Chad. Go.
All right.
Do
a little bit of follow-up from. True. A little bit of follow-up from last week. Ghost in the Shell. Played a little bit more of it. Matchmaking has a little bit more trouble whenever it's not a free weekend. I can confirm it's a completely free-to-play shop. The only thing that you can buy gives you no advantage in the game, just weapon skins, licenses for other characters, but you get free licenses and can buy that with in-game currency. I think it's still worth playing. I think it's still something worth checking out, but wait until it releases. You're probably just going to have to ride the release wave and then bail out, because that's how first-person shooters work. Corey?
Yeah, and that's a early release still, isn't it?
Early access, yeah.
Yeah, it's an early access.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's still a good game. I mean, it's quite a lot Ghost in the Shell, and there's a lot commendable about it. I mean, for one, there's no regenerating health. That's really cool to me, and just the
I don't know though. Like,
abilities,
doesn't that kind of like they're cyborgs? Like, you don't think that they have like something that maybe like doesn't fully regen your life, but just a little twinge of like adrenaline?
I'm good with it.
Yeah, I could see it as a power, but
oh yeah,
or as like an ability.
Yeah.
But I just see I'm not a big fan of the regenerating health in a multiplayer shooter, so that actually does it for me.
I think Halo did it right with the like you have a shield system, but then like you also have a health bar, so you have like 5-shot like health thing, but like depending on weapon damage and whatnot, that can lower quicker, fast, slower.
Right. Yeah, I totally agree with you.
Yeah, you have a hybrid. Like I'm cool with the hybrid systems because at least those make a little bit of sense. But yeah, I totally agree with the whole Ghost in the Shell thing. I was really bummed to log in the other day and just see that like no one was playing. Like I got into a game and I was like waiting about 5 minutes or so, and I just typed in, I was like, how long have you guys been waiting? And they're like, well, I hope the silence kind of drives that home. And I was like, all right. So I just logged out and was like, all right, well, it was $2. It was worth the $2 that I paid. So.
And then 1, it's not released yet. 2, Overwatch beta is happening. 3, Battleborn was released.
Mm-hmm.
The first-person shooter community kind of is nomadic, so they're not going to be paying attention to this after they just had a free weekend.
Right.
Right.
Now, you did say not Overwatch. Battleborn was released. Have either of you played Battleborn?
No.
It doesn't particularly interest me. I meant to get in on the open beta, but I'm not, like, Borderlands was a game enough for me, honestly.
Yeah.
Like,
well,
the reviews aren't great.
So
a lot of people keep...
someone who doesn't...
Oh, go for it.
So for someone who doesn't really know what it is, explain Battleborn.
Right.
Because
okay.
I have no freaking clue.
It's a lot of people are saying like, oh, it's the Overwatch equivalent of Borderlands. That's just not true. Like I played a lot of that game. I played a lot of Borderlands, and I've played a lot of Battleborn. I'm gonna keep saying Overwatch just because like we're gonna get to that, and that's just kind of the game right now. But Battleborn, I played a lot of Battleborn, and Battleborn is more of League of Legends to anything else. So, like, it has the same mechanical system, basically. Like, you have, I can't remember how big teams are right now for some reason. That just really escapes me. I don't want to say it's 5-on-5, but it's probably like 6-on-6, just like Overwatch. But you have, like, Huh?
It's 6-on-6, but it depends on the mode.
Yeah.
Incursion's larger.
Now I will say the modes are really like kind of boring. I've kind of been playing all of the like first-person shooter team objective because that's the thing right now. Games that are coming out, and like I've played Paladins, I've played Battleborn, I've played tons and tons of Team Fortress 2 in my day, and then we have Overwatch. And Battleborn just felt more like League of Legends because it has the same power sets that like Overwatch is gonna give you, but they have like a leveling tree in them, just like League of Legends. Well, I guess not a tree because League you just get your level and you get your new skill, but this one it's like you have like a choice of one or two, so you kind of like spec out through the game, which is kind of fun actually. If you like MOBA play. If you don't like MOBAs, this game is not for you. And that's kind of what turned me off of Battleborn, is it was too much of a MOBA, and how the gameplay proceeded from like point to point to point. It just felt like that MOBA, like, oh, you're not doing well on right, go left, and then like, oh, left's not doing well, go mid, and you just kind of keep switching, and ebb and flow of battle just felt like us playing League of Legends, but instead of having an isometric third person view, it was a first person shooter, and I don't know, I wasn't too sold on it.
I was watching a lot of reviews. I read up on pretty much every game that comes out, and the main complaint I heard was that the MOBA aspects weren't jiving with first person shooter mechanics. People are complaining like you push ahead, all the creep spawns die, and you just run back and wait for another creep spawn, and you have to push with, and it slows the pace of the game down. It doesn't feel right.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it is. I had a lot of trouble figuring out when you should go, because it has also like a turret defense system in the game too. There's too many ideas in this game. Like, they had a really good idea, and then they were kind of just, hey, what about this idea, and what about this idea, and they just kept throwing it together, and I don't really think it worked out. And I think a lot of the gaming community that played the beta when it came out a couple weeks ago, I think they saw that and said, well, you know what, maybe this game isn't as strong as Overwatch, which has been in beta for like 6 years now.
Right.
Yeah.
As to someone, I mean, obviously who doesn't know much, just from the way you guys are talking, it does sound like quite a bit. I mean, I can't imagine a first-person shooter style game with pushing.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
it seems like
you do that though in Overwatch. Like, that's the only game mode I can ever get in Overwatch is a pushing game mechanic but it's granted against, like, one against the other, not pushing each other. But yeah, I mean, you're still kind of pushing each other because you want to push the payload back. It's just not creeps. It's just one thing.
Well, see, I think that works. Personally, I think that works better than.
I won't disagree with you there.
Yeah, that you're in a lane, you kill a bunch of like NPCs, and then hey, I just gotta wait for the next wave.
Right.
Weird.
What I did like about Titanfall was that it seemed to have a perfect mix of NPCs. So if you're not that great at like PvP outside of a mech, and you're on foot, you can just run around and kill NPCs, running around, scurrying around, makes the battles feel more populated than they actually are until you get your mech back. So I felt like that was a great use of AI in a multiplayer format, but this just doesn't seem as well thought out, or too many not as well thought out ideas.
I think it was definitely over thought out. They had a really steady idea of like, we want to build the MOBA crowd into like a first person shooter mode. The only problem is I think Super Monday Night Combat or Super whatever it was, that did it like way better. And no one plays that game anymore, I don't think, but that game was fantastic for what it was. and I don't think anybody has really met that bar yet. I mean, unless you want to look at like Smite, and that's not even really,
What?
A shooter though, is it?
No, it's not really a
No.
shooter, but to be fair, Smite is a lot of fun. I remember playing it like a couple of years ago and just having a blast with friends playing it. But,
It's just
Um,
if you're looking for a MOBA-esque first-person shooter, maybe Battleborn will be it. I will say that there are too many mechanics in that game, and it's kind of convoluted and watered. I don't know if watered down's the right thing, but it's just too much. There isn't just a focus. They didn't pick one thing and say, this is the thing we want to drive home. They were just like, this is kind of the thing we want to drive home, but there's also 1,000 other. There's like also 3 different, like leveling things or something. Like there's so much that's just chaotic in that game.
Something that I don't know if this is in the game or not, but I'm just picturing MOBA mechanics in a first-person shooter, like last hitting and denials, shooting your own men in the back of the head to keep someone else from getting it.
That would be cool, actually. Like that, if they had that to it, that would be kind of neat. But the problem is there isn't like an item shop or anything that you can boost yourself in. So where they want to build the MOBA inside an FPS, it's not there because that is a key mechanic of a MOBA, is having an
So-
item shop inside the game where
Or
you...
Heroes of the Storm. Are they going Heroes of the Storm route where you level up your hero and they have talents you choose from?
Yeah.
So yeah, Blizzard innovated that, and then they're kind of
Yeah.
they're keeping that part simple.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. It was a charming idea, and I had fun for what it was, and it's very obvious they put a lot of time and care into the characters. Unfortunately, Overwatch has better characters, so this
Well,
game isn't
what-
probably going to do the greatest.
Single player campaign aside, what price point would you put it at? Like, would you play it free to play and you earned things? Would you play it $10, $20 buy in, get access to a certain mode, or let it cook?
Single player aside, and like the co-op missions aside, it's probably like a $30 game.
Okay.
But I
Sounds
mean,
pretty good,
not trying to
actually.
put like a
That's-
price point on it, but like that's my problem with Overwatch though, is that Overwatch is a $40 game unless you want to play on consoles. It's $60 because that makes sense. When the better version is going to be the PC version, 10 out of 10 times. Like
Less options on the consoles means you can charge them more. Like, Team Fortress 2 is free on PC, so there's less competition. As
But
far as,
Team Fortress 2 was free on PC, but it wasn't when it was out on the orange box. You still had to buy the orange
$50
box.
Yeah, it was $50 at release, and solo is $20.
Also,
and then 13, and then
I would
8.
say there's more, well, maybe not more competition, but it's like Call of Duty. You have to understand that, like, Call of Duties and Battlefields and Gears of War and Halo, all of those games still dominate console sales. Like, those do way better on console than they do PC. Granted,
Yes.
the competitive scenes are not as prevalent, but those still dominate the scene. So the $60, I think if they would have gone with the competitive 40, this Christmas when people are looking at the game to buy, are they going to buy Battlefield 1? Are they going to buy Call of Duty Infinite Warfare at $60? Both of those? Or actually, Call of Duty, you'd be remiss to buy the $60 one. Everybody's going to buy the $80 one that comes with Modern Warfare 4. Or Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. Like, so that game's going to be $80. So, sure, the 60 sounds better then, but Battlefield 1, which is looking like the better game right now than Infinite Warfare, is going to be $60. So if you charge $40, then you're going to sell more games that way.
In theory, but like game sales on consoles are weird. Games that are bargain priced at launch do notably worse because people don't value them as much. And Blizzard is nothing if not one giant spreadsheet.
I don't know.
They view They
Do you really
market
think that with
research.
like Katamari Damacy? Like that game blew up and sold so many copies just because it was a $20 game when it launched.
And that was also kind of a zeitgeist thing. The word spread. There's plenty of $20 games that don't do crap, and there were people that were always going to buy them, whether they were $20, $40, or $60, and they probably get very little turnover either way, no matter what price point they charge, as far as other people buying it. And most people will wait for used games if they're not in at launch,
That's true.
and then the games will just drop to $20 anyway.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm still kind of on the fence about the whole Overwatch thing. Which we might as well just jump into Overwatch because
Yeah,
I-
chomping at the bit.
my opinion is probably
Oh,
vastly different from your guys. So I would like to hear your guys first because I think I'm more on the negative side on this game.
all right, Corey.
So one thing I was gonna add is that one thing that Overwatch does have versus Call of Duty and Battlefield and whatnot on consoles is it's something different. It's not, like
Same game every year.
Exactly. I mean, it's something
okay.
to break it up.
We'll hang on. Okay, so Modern Warfare Infinite Warfare.
If you lose
is coming out
track
this
of
year.
which one it is, that's the problem.
Yeah, but I mean,
Because you buy it this year, and next year you have to buy the next one, because everyone's going to move to the next one,
Right.
and then all your friends are going to have the next one. You buy Overwatch, you have Overwatch.
this year
All
they're
your friends
doing
that
it.
play Overwatch are going to play Overwatch.
This year they're doing it great by selling you like the old one again. So,
Well, but that's what I mean. If you want something new, I mean,
but that's the thing is,
You know.
do people really want something new? I'm always looking for a new game, but the problem is new IPs, new ideas, they don't come around very often, so that's why you got to
Right.
jump on them when they happen.
Right. Well, see, that's why I'm hoping it works. I mean,
Right.
I think they're taking a gamble, but
I think it will
the
do well on
$60,
console, but I also don't see this game as a very new game or a new idea, especially on PCs, because PC gaming has had this game for 10 plus years now. But like,
I definitely think it's a refinement and a spin, though. I've played Team Fortress 2. I did not get the same feeling or inspiration. It's like a fighting game. Like, Team Fortress 2 is not like a fighting game. Team Fortress 2 is a loadout shooter. This is, you pick a character, you know that character's personality, they have a nationality, they have moves, they have skills, everything works in that kit, and that is who they will always be.
I don't
and
know.
I'm a Ryu main. I like Ken. I like this guy. Like, that's what Overwatch is to me.
I would disagree with that because I feel like Team Fortress has built that story and their whole idea on their characters, because it's like the whole story about Scout's mom is spy banging her or whatever. Like, there's background story with them. Then you have Soldier, who's kind of like this war vet who is a little lost his mind maybe, and Marasmus
character
wants to
design.
live with them. Like, there are storylines in Team Fortress and nationalities and all that stuff, but it's just, it's not
Well,
in your
character
face. They
design
don't
is
rub it in
not-
your face and stuff. They're just like, yeah, like, we have a knitted story, and I personally think the story is great that they deliver through their comics on the website.
Yeah, and they've had 9 years to develop that.
Yeah.
Overwatch at launch comes out swinging. Like, with both hands on a big-ass club, it is just swinging a new IP,
Yeah.
fully fleshed out. You get that feel. Everything feels like it has inspiration. Look at the new characters in Street Fighter. Can anyone name me a new favorite character in Street Fighter the last ever? Yet
Yeah.
every single Overwatch character
Armika.
I play.
Just she got that butt move where she slams you into the ground. She's awesome.
I play Street Fighter
She actually looks
religiously,
cool,
and I
though.
barely recognized that name at first. Like, new characters in Street Fighter are just meh, and they're not inspired, and they don't
Okay.
really carry. They're not charming.
They're not inspired. I will say that none of these characters, because every time I play Overwatch, I'm just like, oh, this is Doom guy. Oh, this is Titanfall guy. Hey, this is Call of Duty guy. Oh, hey, this is Scout. Oh, hey, this is Medic. I'm just like, oh, these are literally carbon copy characters of just every other shooter game that's ever been made. And it's like, the giant
Are they
monkey
supposed to
dude.
invent new guns?
No,
Are you
no, no,
supposed
no.
to
But
redefine
like
how a shotgun works.
that, yeah, well, yeah, redefine how certain guns work for me because, like,
So
I will
Roadhog's
say it is
like
nice how they have.
medium range explosive shell.
I will
Is there another shooter that has a medium range explosive shell combined with a hook?
Yes. Team
Scared
Fortress
kids.
did that.
What?
Team Fortress did that. They
Which character?
they introduced grapple hooks,
hook?
and
And a shotgun and a kit that just works together.
with it works with
okay.
every weapon, and it's
So,
actually
a
super
scout-
fun.
A scout comes at me in Team Fortress. I do not know what they have. A Hanzo comes at me in Overwatch. I know exactly what
No,
he has.
wait,
I know
wait,
exactly
wait.
what he can do. From moment one that I identify him, I am already working on what my vulnerabilities are, and I don't need to identify what weapon loadout he has.
No, because you're missing the point here. Team Fortress, yes, it is a loadout shooter, and I will give you that. There are multiple guns, and I think that's one thing I'm really missing from Overwatch because, like, there are tons and tons of characters that I absolutely just hate their weapons. The problem is where Team Fortress is, yes, it is a loadout shooter. All of the weapons operate almost exactly the same as each other. So a scout, when the scout comes at you, you're going to know that they have 3 item slots. They're going to have the main item slot, the secondary item slot, and their melee weapon. Melee weapon is, if you don't know what a melee weapon is, I'm sorry. A secondary is almost always going to be a pistol. Every scout, all their weapons are pistols, and sometimes they can have a soda. Are they ever going to have that soda? Probably not. Especially in competitive play, they don't use any loadouts. They use basic weapons. So there's that. And then their main weapon is always going to be a shotgun. So yes, you're going to know when the scout is coming at you, they will have a shotgun. They will want to be in your face, and they will have a melee
So
weapon.
then that sounds pretty limited compared to the 21 characters. If you always know what the classes in Team Fortress are coming at you with, 21 characters seems like a lot more variety then.
Yes,
if
I will give you that. It is more
everything's
variety, but does quantity make quality?
Well, see,
Yeah.
one thing that I'd like to add to this is, I mean, Chris, you said, what if you don't like you don't like a class's weapon, or a
Yes.
character's weapon? Well, as you say in TF2, I mean, you always the scout's always going to come at you with something like a shotgun.
Yes.
I mean, that's like the same thing. If you don't like something in TF2, then, you know, if you don't like a scout, well, it's always going to be a shotgun. And it's the same type of thing.
Right, but
You don't have to play a scout, you play a heavy.
yeah, if you don't want to play scout, don't play scout. That's what I'm saying. Like, and that's the thing where Overwatch is like, yes, you have twice as many options to pick from, but there's a lot of those classes when I play them, I don't feel as, like, they feel really good. Like, a lot of them feel really solid, and I will give them that. And especially with how they've made their powers and quirks, that they're essentially just the secondary weapon and the melee weapon, you know. They feel pretty good. It's just that some of them, I think, could have just been refined just a little bit more, because I would take the 9 classes of Team Fortress that have been so fine-tuned and perfected over just 21 characters, where like 3 of them in each thing, I'm just kind of like, I don't, you know, they're not.
But each of those 3 characters in each thing counters another character in that thing. If a Tracer comes at you, you get a McCree. If a Soldier 76 comes at you, you get a Roadhog. Each of these characters is now a hard counter in the meta for other characters. Because there's such a diverse thing and limited move pools, it creates a constantly changing field. Because in Overwatch, every time you die, you can change a character.
Team Fortress is the same way, though.
It's way more, though. A scout with the same loadout can't counter a scout. Let's say McCree and Tracer are both the same type of scout. They're both coming at each other, but one counters the other. Then the McCree is countered by a Reaper because that Tracer changed to a Reaper. There's Vendettas. There's coming back. They're seeking out that guy with the counter.
That is one thing I have run into in the game constantly, where, like, I play a lot of card game, so I know about these. Like, you've got 400 cards in your card pool, and you play down your, Luxray GL level X, they drop down Lucario to counter you. You drop down Mewtwo. Your opponent drops down Weezing to blow you both up. They send up Lucario again, and then you're like, shit, I don't have a Psychic Pokemon. I'll throw Ambipom to switch everything. Yes, I understand countering. The problem is, I would rather have we're in Team Fortress, the 9 classes, yes. Like, you can throw out your Scout and run around, and Pyro is going to counter the fuck out of him. They're both offensive classes. They're both pretty fast. Thing is the Scout has a low health, so once you hit that fire on him, he's going to burn out and die pretty quick. Granted, the Heavy is going to counter the Pyro because the Pyros are a little bit slower than, the Scout, and the Heavy's going to hit him faster. And then guess what? You see that Heavy coming? Throw out that Soldier. That Soldier's going to just whop damage on him. And you can counter and counter and counter. The thing is I don't have to counter 21 characters constantly. I counter 9 of them, and I perfect the gameplay based within those 9 classes. Instead of being like, I throw down this, and then it's like, shit, alright, we'll throw this. And then you constantly have to switch your character. It's like,
no,
I'm not into that.
You can have your team screen you. That's where the team aspect comes in. Now, you can choose to counter a Bastion, or you can just have your team screen you from the Bastion and have your already existing teammates play around it. And then if they start, you force them to counter you then, and then they're on the back foot. There's a lot of strategy to it, but the fact of the matter is, Team Fortress 2 is 9 years old. People in this video game industry get bored with the game in 6 months.
That's true. I mean,
a game is lucky to have a community as long as StarCraft 2 has, but and I'm not saying Team Fortress 2 is dead, but its community is stagnant. This is revitalizing the genre. This is good for Team Fortress 2, and this is good for Overwatch. A new game in the genre turns people on to the entire genre. Just the way Street Fighter 4 revitalized the fighting game genre.
I don't know if I would say that Team Fortress's fan base is stagnant, because that game has so many people playing it constantly. And like, you look at Counter-Strike Go, Global Offensive, is that what it's called, the newest one? That game like blew up recently, and it's still not beating Team Fortress on the Steam things, is it? Like, Team Fortress seems
Counter-Strike Go is #1 for everything on Steam.
Yeah.
The last time I looked.
Okay.
Like, Counter-Strike Go is ridiculously popular. Dota 2, Counter-Strike Go, then Team Fortress. But
yeah, so today, that's the thing, is Team Fortress is still up there.
Dota 2 was 1 million. Counter-Strike Global Offensive was 600,000. Team Fortress 2, 70,000. That is an insane drop-off.
Is that right now, though? At what time is it in the morning?
Today. Peak today, of all of today.
There's still 70,000 playing a 10-year-old game?
9-year-old. And yes, I'm saying, the community is stagnant. Like, that's still great, but it's not going to grow. Let's be honest. There's nothing Steam can do to get people into a 9-year-old game. They could spend millions of dollars on it, and they would grow the user number by 100,000 at best.
I don't know. I honestly believe once, because everybody has been asking for 9 years now for a competitive mode, like a hardcore, like, competitive Team Fortress mode that the game doesn't have, because the game thrives on community play. That's coming, and it's out there, and it's going to be big. And I mean, I think it will. I think it's going to bring in a lot more people. I'm sure that 70,000 will at least jump a little bit. And yeah. It's not going to affect Overwatch at all, because Overwatch is a almost completely different game. It's just the whole idea with Team Fortress also, and that where I'm going with like how the classes and you counter and stuff, it's a little bit more open, because the game is designed for 12 versus 12, not 6 on 6. And personally, I like bigger shooters than smaller. Like, I would rather have
but like, what's your specific problem with Overwatch? Just because it's not exactly right for you, there's not.
No,
like,
okay.
Obviously, people really like this game. Like,
yes.
Streamers, this is blowing up. Like just because you're a Mortal Kombat fan doesn't mean you can't respect and you don't have to throw shade on Street Fighter. What's going on with Overwatch here?
I'm not trying to throw shade at Overwatch or anything. I'm just saying, like, I like the game. I do like the game. I like the price point does bug me a bit, but it's like I'll bite the bullet on it eventually. The only thing is
all characters are going to be free. And all maps are going to be free.
That's fine.
Yes.
Like, I mean, that's something I don't buy season passes. If a game's gonna ask me to buy a season pass, I probably won't buy your game. That's one of the things is when I logged into this Rainbow Six Siege, immediately I got an email saying, "Hey, buy our season pass." I was like, I haven't even logged in yet, and you are already asking me for this? And then I never played the game again. Granted, it wasn't running well for me for some reason, but with Overwatch is okay. So Blizzard has been taking games and making them streamlined, or they're making them quicker, casual, whatever you want to call it. With MMOs, they took that from 6-hour raids and all that, and where you had to be so dedicated to play WoW, to, hey, you like Farmville? You have a garrison. And then it's like, okay, they wanted that casual market to play this game instead of their hardcore. They took StarCraft, they just made it a little bit quicker. The games don't go as long anymore because of the...
Which actually makes it more hardcore, trust me.
I agree with that. So that's why it's like they changed it a bit. I still would rather the longer game, but I'll take
StarCraft
the StarCraft
2, they just
one.
made it more interesting to watch. They made an esport game with this last expansion.
Right.
They didn't care for casuals at all. As a semi-casual competitive player, oh god.
Then they looked at what's the next thing blowing up? Oh, League of Legends and Dota. Let's make our response, and which they'd been making for a long time, but then they were like, you have a turrets that they burn out really quick, and they're 15-minute games. We want this game to be the game for if you're in a cubicle hating your life and you go to your lunch break, you could play 3 games in your lunch break because you're not playing a 45-minute grind. And it's
but
like,
if you really look at the League of Legends community at this point, I don't think any of them like their game time.
probably
Dota
not.
players
But
don't
I
like
mean,
their game time.
I don't play that game anymore, and I don't really even keep up with it, so I can't really say the validity of it. But still, it's like they looked at it and they said, how do we make this into 10 minutes? And then they did it.
Yeah.
So what's the next thing? Oh, Magic the Gathering's still doing phenomenal after 20 years. Let's dip into that market. And then they took Magic and they were like, hey, here's Magic the Gathering. I mean, Hearthstone. And it's not Magic because we changed it enough.
They did. Here's Warcraft, the trading card game.
And
I mean, Hearthstone.
Well,
I mean, Brian Kibler is going to have to come to us sooner or later.
let's be honest. The WoW TCG was Commander for Magic. Just 60 card deck. So it was just Magic and you had a Commander. That was it. That was the only difference to that game.
No, heroes. You had equipment. Like
You
there
have equipment
there
in
were
in
things-
Magic.
not on your hero, not on your character.
No, not on your character, but they're called
Like there were
artifacts. They're
innovations.
the same
There
thing.
was flavor.
It's the
I think
same
there's as much
mechanic.
flavor difference in that as there is in Yu-Gi-Oh! Or like there were enough different things in the WoW TCG. And Kibler did come from Magic. He took the best ideas he had and then
I mean,
put lore into.
I played the WoW TCG like fairly competitively, and it was Magic. Like,
Did you ever play Magic fairly competitively though? Like
yeah, I did.
like,
I played
oh.
Modern. I played
Like,
Modern, and I
I
played
felt
Standard for like
no
3 or
similarity.
4 years. Whenever, like, from '98 to like 2005, I played Magic. Like, yeah, I've played both, and like, there is Magic, and like, and that's. But I mean, like, I think Pokemon is also Magic. It's just instead of putting out all your creatures at once, you just put out one. Like, they're all the same,
Well, I mean,
but they
That's like saying they're competitive card games.
they I guess, but I mean, I would argue that Yu-Gi-Oh is probably a lot different, but that I digress. But they looked at that and they said, how do we make this into a 10-minute game? And then they did.
Yeah.
And it was Hearthstone.
and it's multi-millions of dollars, and
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that it's bad. I'm not saying that it's not good. I'm not saying that it's not making money. I'm just saying they looked at it and they said, how do I make this into 10 minutes? And then they
And
did
I
it.
would pay them $60 to do that to a Japanese RPG, and I'd pay them $60 to do it to pretty much anything because I like Overwatch.
I'm not
too.
saying that I
Like,
wouldn't either. Like, don't misinterpret my words. Like, I'm saying that they looked at something and then they refined it and made it into like a quick game. And then they looked at Team Fortress and shooters and said, let's make this quicker and like shrink it down a bit and then put it out. And they did that.
To be fair, Team Fortress looked at Quake Fortress, and then looked at Team Fortress 1, and then you got Team Fortress 2.
No.
Quake Fortress was generally the first iteration on the... It's not like Valve came up with the idea.
Quake Fortress is Team Fortress. Like, it was... Team Fortress was made by modders. Like, all of Valve's games that have a 2 in it are made off of mods. Like,
just like Dota was made by modders. Like,
yeah,
it's not...
But
like,
they
just took the most recent popular iteration and changed it. It's not saying it's copying Team Fortress 2. It's copying the original idea, which obviously had merit. Team Fortress 2, just the same. If let's say we're 2007 and Team Fortress 2 comes out, wouldn't we just be saying the same thing about Quake Fortress as we are about Overwatch right now?
Probably.
Wouldn't that same argument we're having being made?
Probably, but the thing is I feel like Team Fortress at least excelled. Like, they surpassed what they needed to meet. And where I feel Overwatch is, they had 9 years to look at Team Fortress and say, what does Team Fortress do wrong and how do we do better? And it's not that they did worse, I just don't think that they exceeded it. I think they just gave me Team Fortress again. And it's like, well, I mean, it's good. Like, it's not bad. I'm not saying it's not bad. This game is a solid, 8 for me. And that's great. That's a really good number, guys. The problem is there are a lot of things that Team Fortress is doing and still do that I see Overwatch, and I'm just like, Overwatch just, if it did one little tweak on this, it would kick Team Fortress out of the water. And the problem is I would keep playing Overwatch, and I just kept pushing myself to play. I'm just like, you know what? Like, going with a clean slate, just play some games, have some fun. And then I would do it, and then immediately, I would get they would just lock in 3 Widowmakers and just this is your fault for being a Mercy, or trying to play something that builds into your team. And it just felt like League of Legends again, where I was like, oh, so we're going to have a team of all Teemo or something like that, or all support. And it's like, that doesn't work, guys. Let's play this game like it should be at least played. And it's like, no, we're going to Widowmakers. And it's like, okay,
you could get that
it.
in Team Fortress 2. Team Fortress 2 is old, so people are used to playing it and don't do stupid shit. It's open beta. I've played Team Fortress 2 games where people are fucktards. I was a
Team Fortress. There's so many. Yes, the game's been out for 9 years, so I have more options to go other places when that happens. With Overwatch, it feels like I have weekly brawl and then versus AI and quick play. There isn't a I want to play payload thing. And I haven't really gone into custom games yet, so I don't know how that is. I just didn't even bother with that.
You have to fill that out yourself. But they did keep the quick play simple for launch and beta, and they're expanding the options as it goes. And I will say, I do wish there could be a little bit more map selection in it. And I do wish that the price point was more competitive. I'm not saying Blizzard did a perfect job here. I do think that for what they're doing,
I think they did a damn good job, though. But
I think what they're promising is part of the $40 package. If you look at their promise of what they did with Diablo 3, that game sucked at launch and now it's great. And all you had to do was pay for Diablo 3. Admittedly, there's an expansion now, but same thing with Overwatch. But this game's actually good at launch. There's always going to be a Blizzard commitment.
You can promise me all you want, but guess what? I'll buy your game when that promise comes to fruition. Because I've bought a lot of games that are we promise it's going to be this, we promise it's going to be this. And yes, I think that I would, if I had the choice today of buy Diablo 3 with the promises now, or buy Overwatch with all the promises now, I'm going to buy Overwatch, because Diablo 3 was a mess. But it's just, this game turned into, I still like League of Legends, I think it's fine, it's just, I'm not going to play that game unless I have friends to play with. And the problem is that, yes, I will be able to play this game with you. I will be able to play this game with Corey. There will still be 3 other people I don't know on the team, and I'll still have fun that way. But I will never play this game by myself. Where Team Fortress, I can play that for days, and it's just the community I feel is,
I can't at all.
There.
And it's just a personal preference. It's just your taste in MMO. And I'll definitely give you that. And I don't think they're going to get everyone with this game. But this price point thing is coming to be an important issue because of we originally thought this was going to be free to play like Team Fortress 2.
Yeah.
And does that compromise the integrity of the competitiveness? They say they want to do the pay once thing because, like I said, you do need the counters. You need all the characters, so when someone's playing a Tracer, you get them a Kree. If you don't have all the characters, you can't freeform counter the other team. And that's why they say everything's pay at once, because it's not like a MOBA where you choose it and you lock it in, and that's just what everyone goes with. This is a more fluid,
Well, yeah, you
evolving
constantly
gameplay.
switch, but it just...
So their purpose here was to keep the competition even. At what price point is that vision sustainable without making it free to play?
20
we go
bucks.
with. I would say 30, but yeah, like...
Because, like, let's be honest, Counter-Strike Go came out for 15, and that game is
Yeah.
fantastic. Like, that game is probably better than Team Fortress. Like, granted, I'm not as into the one-shot kills anymore. Like, that I used to be really about that style of gameplay and just, like, being Twitch reactive about it, and it's not my game anymore. I still acknowledge that it's a fantastic game. Granted, it is a source shooter, and I think it does a lot right. But that game came out for $15, and look at that. Like, granted, the structure is a little bit different, but
Actually, I'm very interested in Counter-Strike Go because of what I've experienced with Ghost in the Shell. Ghost in the Shell was so refined that I had been so turned off the Counter-Strike format of headshots that now I'm interested in getting into Counter-Strike Go, which I know is probably a more refined game without the flavor, but better gameplay.
Also, just had this League of Legends starter pack is $20. So if you wanted that,
And
like,
I bought that back in the day, and that's fucking useless, trust me.
Yeah.
at least it gives
It
you
is.
like that game is still
They
one of the
intentionally
highly
made that useless.
it's the most competitive game out there right now. Or well, it's not the most competitive. It has the most
Dota 2.
players. Has the
Dota
most
2.
players playing.
Dota 2.
Dota 2. would
Dota
be
2 has
much
the most
more-
tournament money by far of
Has
any other game
money.
ever.
Money.
And players. Almost guarantee you.
Yeah.
Like,
That
like
was-
Dota 2 has surpassed it. Like Dota 2 hit that sweet spot Blizzard was shooting for, and it just nailed it.
The thing is more people know and watch and care about League of Legends than Dota. Go to Twitch right now and tell me what the number one. Go to Twitch right now and tell me what the number one game is. I bet there's at least 90,000 people. There are 89,000 people watching League of Legends right now at number one.
Is there a tournament going on?
Probably.
Mid-season invitational. That brings 30,000 people to the numbers, and nothing is going on in Dota 2 right now. You can't compare numbers whenever a tournament's going on.
Okay.
Well, let's see.
Then
If we compare tournaments
on-
or we
on
compare something with
Tuesday
League of Legends to
afternoon,
the internationals.
Tuesday afternoon,
come
go
on.
look at it and tell me that it's not number one.
See, I wouldn't say anything like that until you actually compare big tournament prizes and viewers.
Well, you can't
Compare
look at
something
prizes.
to
Prizes are totally
international.
different because prizes, yes, like Pokemon has $2 million in their prize pool. They're only
League of
going to
Legends
have
has set
1,000 people at Nats.
Concurrent players, 7.5 million. Dota concurrent players, 1 million. You are definitely right. Valve puts shit tons of prize pools in, though.
Yeah, like I was going to say, like you can't look at prize pools and say that's how many people play. It's just no. That means there's a ceiling and you gotta meet it. But like no, League of Legends is the game to watch, and that's the thing. Is like Overwatch is just I don't know the $40 when they announced that a couple months ago was like a kick in the teeth. I was just like, you really expect me to buy this game for $40? And granted, I might eventually, but my situation right now is where I have to look at every game and say like I don't have $60 to drop on every game coming out. I'm definitely not going to spend $40 on this shooter. I don't spend anything on other shooters that come out because there isn't one that, meets that bar,
And I think this is definitely an important thing. Do you have anything to add to the conversation, Corey?
Not really, other than I'm having a blast in Overwatch, and Dota 2 is a much, much, much better and more competitive game than League of Legends.
I'll agree.
Nonsense
I
and
mean,
shit,
I agree with
but-
that.
I mean, I
And
could
we
go on
should
for
mention that
days
Dota 2
about-
has free to play and all characters available because they
Right.
wanted that competitive integrity, and
Right.
they did it free to play, and
and
Blizzard
that's-
didn't.
Right.
And that's the thing I think that is complete shit about League of Legends is because not all characters are free and runes.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's a discussion for a different time.
Yeah, I mean that goes into a whole like pay to play and like free to play and cash shop stuff, which is like we are going to have that discussion eventually because this Overwatch thing does lead into it. And look, $40 is not an absurd price to ask, but I just don't understand the price points for like $40 for PC because they obviously want that PC market there. And then $60 for console. Why not just make them all just a $20 download and just download it? Well, granted, they wanted it in retail because that's how it's going to sell. But
yeah. See, I think it's kind of odd to have it $60 on console, obviously, and then $40 for PC. But part of me sees where they're coming from is that if you're a PC gamer, I highly doubt. I think you'll be more inclined to purchase a $40 game over a $60 game, whereas on consoles, as Chad had said before, when you see a reduced price game, you're like, I'd rather just get the Call of Duty or something.
I will agree with that because I have worked in video game retail where you'll have people come in and they will just look at what is new release and then $60 and they're like, oh, Call of Duty, I'll buy that. But the thing is if they really wanted that PC market, you go competitive. You go $20, one-time fee, and then you can still have your little cash shops for skins and stuff. That's going to make you tons of money. That's what Team Fortress already does. Mm-hmm. And their game is free. Granted, it wasn't. I bought the game. I paid like $30 for it back in the day. But guess what? I still paid $30 for Team Fortress back then, before there was a cash shop, before there were additional items, when you just could only play with a scatter shot on your scout and a pistol and a baseball bat. There were no other loadouts. It was just scout, soldier, pyro, medic, spy. It wasn't anything else, and it was fantastic. And that's the thing is that $30 is way better than $40 still, because then I still at least have $10 after that. But still, like, $20 just seems a little bit more there than, anything else.
Speaking of $20, Atlas Reactor just had its big open beta. Got rave reviews, lots of pump articles, and Destructoid, IGN, people that played it had really positive things to say about it. Had issues with the cash shop. So they've come to announce that it's no longer free to play. It's going to be pay to play for a limited time. It's going to be $20, that magic price window.
Yep.
And then it will be $30 after launch. So they're trying to get you to do that pre-order thing, but they're giving you better value than pre-order DLC. I'm not sure where I fall on that one.
Oh, I'm so on board with that price. Like, there was, I cannot remember the game right now, but there was a guy who basically was putting out his game, and he said, what is the lowest price point I would ever sell this game at on like a Steam sale or something? And he was like $5. I'm just throwing an arbitrary number out there. And it was probably like a $40 game, right? And then he was like, this is how I'm going to price my game. Every week it is going to go up $5 until it reaches the price point that I wanted the game to originally be at. So it was like, if you really want this game and you believe in it, buy it now, cheaper. And I'm for that because in that first week, that's all you need is people to, like, look at Stardew Valley. That game blew up so quick, and all you need is a week. So if you're paying $10 instead of $30, or if you're paying $20 instead of $30, that's fine. And I'm sure that this $20 to $30 is going to last a little bit longer. I don't know how well this game will do, because it is a Tryon game, right?
Yep.
And yes. Tryon puts out very quality games. I love their games. Very quality. They just miss the mark. I don't know if it's like a advertising thing or what, but for some reason they just can't pull players.
Yeah. And that's part of the guarantee of a big developer, and I think that's why a big developer can charge more. Yeah. I can spend $20 3 times on a shooter or any game, like Atlas Reactor coming out, which probably is more innovative and cutting edge than anything Blizzard's going to put out. It's not as polished, never going to be as polished, but I don't expect that. But the user base is going to bow out, and I'm going to have to pay $20 another year down the line, and another $20 to get that fix on a constantly moving nomadic tribe of players.
Yeah.
Whereas there's always going to be a guarantee. I don't know how much you can pay to ensure a guarantee of a user base.
Yeah, it's just when it comes price points right now are like really weird, and it's going to be interesting to continue to watch this because yes, Overwatch is $40 now. I'm sure it will go on sale a billion times. This is what happens with every Blizzard game ever. But Call of Duty has introduced the idea of just selling their multiplayer at a discounted price, and it will look like it'd be interesting to see if they start that. I think they kind of are with introducing Modern Warfare 4, and if they do end up putting that out in a digital store for $20 and having it, if it has competitive multiplayer still in it, it's going to be interesting to watch those numbers. So,
compared to a lot of the other stuff out there, and how much I enjoyed the game during open beta, I mean, I personally don't think $40 is that big of a deal.
Yeah.
I mean, if it was $40 in a cash shop, no fucking way. If it's $40, I mean, if it was $20 or $30 and you could buy skins, sure. But I personally think that they're doing a good move with the fact that it's $40. Like, I feel like that since we're paying that up front, it's going to be I don't know. I guess it's just a feeling that it's going to be a little bit higher quality game and continued, I guess, effort put into the game.
Yeah.
However, I really think they did a good job in saying that characters will be free, because I hate DLC and shit like that. So, personally, I wouldn't same with Dota, TF2 hats. Like, if I want to spend or even Rocket League, like if I want to spend a little bit on some skins, sure, I'd gladly support the developer if I love the game. Why not? But anything that's outside of skins that you can buy with real money, that's that's when I start to get annoyed.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I really like about Overwatch. And seeing that, I mean, I personally don't think that the $40 price point is that bad, to be honest with you.
You have to look at it from the standpoint of $40 is a lot to some people, though. Like, especially when buying a new game, because this is basically, yes, you're not buying a $60 game, so that you do drop down to $20 after that, and you have some money left over. But like, I don't know, when you look at all the source shooters, where Team Fortress is a free-to-play shooter, doesn't have any pay-to-win in it. And then you look at Counter-Strike, $15 game that you can almost always find for $7, no pay-to-win in it. Then you look at games like Dota's the same way. It's free-to-play with no pay-to-win. But you look at League of Legends, where it is a little pay-to-win, but you have 500,000 characters that counter each other. Does that make it better? Like, no.
Well, with League of Legends, I mean, see, my big thing with that is, yeah, sure, releasing characters is fine. That's fine. But, when you start releasing them for, pretty much the highest price point, and, oh, hey, I can either, use my in-game currency to buy this or buy runes, someone who pays money to buy the characters is going to have an advantage.
Yeah.
That's where that comes into play. But I mean, from someone who doesn't have a, personally, I like dicking around in TF2. That's fun. But for someone who has never, someone like me who's never, I never really cared for, I played Counter-Strike a little bit, Counter-Strike Go, wasn't a fan. Played TF2 other than, like Mario Kart,
yeah,
doing our silly shenanigans. I'm not I like the game, but it's just I don't have that attachment to it. See, for me, Overwatch is something they have. To me, they have really good character design, really good art direction. It's
it's new too.
Yes, but also it's. I mean, to me,
so
it's more charming. yes, it's very polished, and it seems to someone who doesn't really have that history with TF2 other than, I guess, literally just dicking around on servers or playing the wonderful, wonderful something I wish Overwatch would add, and I would gladly pay for. Man versus monster.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
one
like
thing
a
that Team
man versus
Fortress
team.
does have over Overwatch is it has a PvE, and the PvE
Right.
is fantastic.
It is. It is.
And yes, if you want the special item at the end, it does cost 99 cents to play every time, but
I will say, leading into the character design thing and a little bit of trivia to round out my part of Overwatch, because I think I've pretty much said all I need to, and probably a little bit more. Porn searches during the May 5th open beta for Overwatch have increased 817%.
that scares me a little.
That's some character design right there, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
They have hard sold, and I do mean hard.
They hard sold Korea hard. I saw that. They were hard sold.
It is the 4th most popular search term in Korea before release and before the open beta. I don't even know what it is right now.
Do you think
Probably
it's
number
before
one.
release and after release?
Oh,
Shit.
gotta
No,
follow up something.
I don't know. Like I said, I know I'm coming. It sounds like I'm coming down
Tracer
super
is
hard.
the most popular, by the way. by
Yes,
far.
and then
Oh, yeah.
third is Overwatch Fuda. So.
Oh
there you
god.
go.
No, like
Widowmaker's up there too.
That's my.
I know it sounds like I'm coming down hard on the game, and I don't want to mistake the idea that I don't like this game or I think it's bad, because I think it's a fantastic game. And I think I said it even the first day I was playing. I was like, you know what? They did something right with this game. It's just the more I play it, and the more I get into games, and the more I try out the game modes and the maps, I'm starting to find that there are a lot of maps I don't like. The characters, I think the only character I just absolutely hate are Genji, which I'm starting to understand a little bit more, and
Highest skill cap in the game.
Yeah.
Like, that character is not easy to play.
And-
because if they killed you, it's because they're better than you, no matter what they're playing.
Simerica or something. It's the
Symmetra.
Symmetra. Yeah,
Symmetra, yeah.
I don't I get her a little bit, but I just don't like either of the. I don't like playing as those characters.
Well, and see some of the characters though too that have things taken from
Other games. Yeah.
I mean, I think they did it well.
Oh yeah, it was done
look,
really
okay,
well.
Soldier 74 or whatever
76.
is. Yeah, Soldier 76 is just generic Call of Duty Battlefield.
Yep.
Every single shooter ever.
It doesn't make
But,
him bad
you
though,
know,
but it just.
No, it doesn't. But that's what I'm saying. They did it in a good way. I
Yeah,
think. And
it's cute.
something
They're
like-
homages.
So here you go. Here's one for anybody who played Dota. God, Roadhog is Pudge. He has
Yeah.
a meat hook that pulls you in. He's this big fat guy. He's Pudge. But I love that in a first-person shooter. It works so well.
Yeah, but the thing
It
is
communicates
there are
in a
going to-
language.
there are going to be more characters, right?
Right.
So when does
Right.
this turn into League of Legends, where you have 50 characters and you just have to know how to metagame 50 characters on screen? Doesn't that have the whole League versus Dota thing again, where you're just like, I would rather have a fine-tuned number than 400 characters to choose
I mean,
from?
They've
Dota
expressed
still
that
has
fear.
a lot of characters, but
They have expressed that fear, and they've said they're going to stop creating characters whenever they stop coming up with unique, discrete skill kits that work together that you can't get from another character. And I will say, every character I play, I have to play completely differently than any other character. It is
Yes.
exactly like a fighting game to me. And you have to learn their timings, and some are easier to play, some are harder to play.
I think
Yeah.
yeah. I think I can agree with that for the most part. It's just that I feel like there are some that most of the classes play very, very similar to each other, but you do have to play them differently, if that makes any sense. Like most of the big buff tank dudes, you're almost always going to get up in their face somehow. And it's like,
No,
which
Not
not with a
necessarily.
Reinhardt. You stay the hell away from Reinhardt.
well,
You do not get in his face.
no, like
Ever.
Reinhardt's going to get in other people's faces.
He's going to charge you, and he's going to
Yeah,
lay down a shield,
just
and
like
then he has a range attack.
Pudge is going to charge you, but he's going to make you charge to him, basically. He's going to pull you in. Like, the tanks are all going to be close combat fighters.
No, Zarya's ranged. She's got a shield, and she has a knockback attack. Winston, he is a brawler, but he also has a Tesla gun, so he's medium ranged as a tank, and then he keeps a shield around him and your party. All the tanks play very differently, but there's not a sniper tank because sniper's a class.
No, but
that's a thing.
I don't know. Every time I play any of the tanks, I feel like I almost have to be a close quarters combat. And I'm doing something right because almost every time I have like 13 kills with a tank and I'm close quarters. So like I'm doing something right, and it might just be the games I'm in, but like every time I played a tank, it's I got to play close, and then every time I play offensive, I kind of play back, but you peek in and jump out, jump in, jump out, and then when you play defense, you're the mid range, and then when you're support, you're back, and it's like, okay, like, and yes, you can deviate bits, but I don't know, it's when they get to the number of however many characters they make with unique skill sets, I just feel like it may be too much. I think right now is probably the best number they're going to get, and they probably should stop.
I'm playing an open beta, and I feel like I can counter pretty much everyone reliably except Bastion, which requires a team to counter it. There's not a single character right now that I don't have memorized exactly what they can do.
Yeah, what's
and
up with fucking Bastion? Like, holy fuck.
He requires a team to know what the fuck they're doing, and people don't because it's open beta.
Yeah.
Bastion actually is not competitive at the moment. He was nerfed to the ground, but the problem is he's not fun to play against. If you notice, you'll actually win a lot of games you play against a Bastion. He seems like he's holding everyone off, but he's actually not. Like,
yeah.
He'll get a lot of kills, and the rest of the team suffers because he's not helping him out half the time.
Yeah. Like, I'm not saying that... it was the first few games I got in, I was just like, man, I hate this Bastion thing. And then I started learning, like,
Bastion,
he's not that
Bastion
bad.
is the noob cannon. Like, Bastion...
He's the team killer. Like, you could get... If you get in a good turn with a Bastion where you can just wipe their whole team and then swap out real quick, then that's how you play Bastion. But... yeah,
and that's actually what he's designed for, because if you watch a tournament, what they do is they have a surprise ambush build opening play, and then once they die and they wipe, but they've held them for a long time, they've team killed twice, they completely change their lineup and throw everyone on the back foot. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Like I played a game with Simon where he was a Bastion and he was carried up to the top with a Mercy, and he just wasted everyone twice, and then he switched out and never touched Bastion again. They're still looking for a Bastion half the game.
Yeah. I don't, like, again, the whole countering system, like, it's fine and cute, I guess, but I don't know. I just like the smaller numbers, I guess, but I think at the end of the day, my biggest complaint is just I think I want a 12 versus 12 game or an 8 versus 8, something just a little bit bigger, because that was another it's choke points. Choke points, I like choke points and shooters. I think that's great. The only choke point should not be my base, though. Like, if I'm attacking on the payload, the hardest choke point for me should never be my base. It should be mid.
Why shouldn't it be, though? Because if your base is the choke point, you respawn faster. That's actually a high skill area, because you're going to keep on respawning. Every one of them you kill, they run back for half a map. So every kill you get matters way more than their kills on you. Because
that's where you just drop the Bastion and win. Like, there's been so many games. Every game that I've played and I'm attacking on the payload, like, it's decided in the first minute. It's either you get out of your base or you don't. And it's like, I would rather at least move to the first objective and then have the battle be there where we're still close and they still have to come. But the thing is you get ample time to set up your team. If their team is dumb enough to walk into the doors and you just be like, hey, this is their loadout, and then you just hot switch and then you counter their team immediately, then like that's their fault. But every time I've played on Route 66, I think is the worst map in the game. You can't get out of your base. You cannot, like, in Team Fortress, when they have their payload maps, you have 3 or 4 options to get out of your base, and not just they're all on top of each other. You can actually have somebody backdoor the other team and come around. Granted, the game is built for 12 on 12.
And this is why it's 6 versus 6. 6 people you can keep track of. 6 people, 1 person can counter half their team. The changing in and out matters more, and you can keep track of enemy team locations way more than the chaotic clusterfuck fest of a 12 versus 12. The more people in a shooter, the more I'm never going to play it, because I spawn, I turn around a corner, someone is behind me, or 3 people are behind me, I get shot, I hate this fucking game, I quit. I've done that tons of times in shooters.
12 and 12 isn't very much, though. Like, yes, it is. It's twice as much as 6, but you also have to look at most shooters nowadays want you to do 16-16 or even upwards of 40 and 40. I think those are a little bit higher than a 12 and 12. Like 12 and 12 is,
and they get progressively dumber.
Like, granted, when it comes to competitive play in Team Fortress, my favorite's Highlander, where you play 9 people and you have 1 of each class. That's my favorite way to play competitively, and it does bring down numbers a little bit. Granted, the maps are made for those 9 and 9s, but I would rather have that pocket soldier that's, there with the rocket launcher and ready to go, or a wandering like the map and trying to find all your people and calling it out and being like, hey, we got sniper here coming, we got your demo man. Demo man is actually carrying the shield, so he's gonna charge you instead. Like, I would rather have something like that than just the 6-on-6. It felt like throwing shit at the wall, and then once something stuck, you got out of your room or your base, and I was like, oh shit, we did it, we can have a game now, instead of like, oh, we're just gonna sit here.
Well, that's like winning with Hadoken spam in Street Fighter until someone actually learns how to play. Like, it's beta. Like, everyone's new to the game. It's a team-based game.
Yeah.
Like, I would say Overwatch is a buy, in my opinion. Get the $40 version unless you just really like skins, because the $60 PC version just has skins. Corey, what's your final say?
I definitely say it's a buy. I really enjoy it. Yeah, and I mean, hell, I'm trying to play Shogun, and I'm like, oh hey, wait, this is Shogun 2, and this is an open beta. I just want to go back to Overwatch. There's that. I think they've got something there. I mean, I enjoyed it a lot. I think
it's your lizard brain.
Sorry,
it hits your lizard brain in the right spot.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and say this is a wait. Like, wait on this game until it comes down in price. If you absolutely need a new shooter today and you are just like, I've got money to spend, and then yeah, go buy. I would say probably go buy Uncharted instead, though. Just like, that's gonna get more bang for your buck right now than this game. I'd say wait on this game just a little bit, just a little bit until summer comes around, because it'll be on sale in the summer.
Blizzard's games don't often go on sale. Legacy of the Void's been out for months now. The cheapest I've seen it is $30, and usually they just bundle Heart of the Swarm in with it for $40. Blizzard games like World of Warcraft, they're subscription-based, do go on sale, but that's because they're getting their $15. You might find a more rude awakening with Overwatch if you're waiting for it, and all your friends are going to be ahead of you. It's probably going to go on sale. It's going to be $10 off.
It will be, and I think it's definitely worth 30. It's not worth 40 in my mind. Just wait a little bit. Try to find a cheap, like, even go and if maybe you have a game that you're ready to get rid of and you're just like, I hate this game and I want to get rid of it, and maybe you'll get $10 out of it at GameStop. That might be your best bet. But I don't know if $40 is the price for this game. I think there are other options out there at better price values that you will get your money's worth.
But Corey, you were saying you were playing Shogun 2. I'm the one that got you into that game. I have a vested interest in you liking it. How are you liking it so far?
Yeah, it's fun.
You better like it. It's amazing.
No, I mean, I'm liking it. Yeah, it's pretty good. Let's see what I've started my first campaign. Eventually, after reading up on the game a little bit, taking over Kyushu. Gone on.
It's my island, man. You stay away from Kyushu.
Nah, dude. I already own it. Shoot Mazu up in this motherfucker. But and now I'm on to like mainland Japan or Honshu, and then taking it's just with Chad's advice and stuff. It's like I'm just rolling in the bank, just ridiculous amounts of money, ridiculous amounts of troops. It's pretty fun. Yeah, it's I'm liking it a lot more than I thought I would, but I think I auto-resolve most battles because I just don't want to take the time to go through playing the battle out.
Yeah, that becomes like the Sophie's choice of the campaign. You play the game for these epic battles, and then you never play them because you don't want to lose troops because you want to continue your next turn in a good position.
Exactly.
I like the battles a lot in that game, but I think when it came down to it, I like the battles more. I just wanted a battle.
Yeah. But speaking of Total War, Sega's walked back Total War Warhammer. They were going to have pre-order DLC, Chaos Faction, an entire faction in a game with not very many faction because Warhammer just doesn't have that many compared to countries. Mind you, they're more distinct. Now, in the first week, if you buy it, you can wait for reviews. You still get the DLC for free. And on top of that, they said there weren't going to be mods. There's going to be mods now. And on top of that, riding all this Warhammer buzz, they've announced Dawn of War 3 from Relic, which Sega also owns, which Dawn of War 1 and 2 got a lot of buzz in the RTS community. Like, they never got amazing sales, but
It's got a
they're
very
really
niche
well-respected
market.
games. Yeah.
The people that like that game really like that game.
Oh, yeah.
So it'll do well. I think it'll do well. Especially it being Dawn of War 3, I think this is another jumping in point. It's the new one to jump in on.
I'm excited for Warhammer. I've never gotten into it, and this is looking like the year, or a couple of years, because Warhammer 3 is probably not coming out. Or not Dawn of War 3.
I like 40k more, but I'm willing to look at Total War eventually. Again, it'll probably be a game I have to wait on, though. Like, I probably won't pay the... If they're asking
definitely
$60
going on
for it,
sale.
then I'll wait till 20.
It's definitely going on sale, and it's going in a humble bundle.
Yeah.
They always go in humble bundles. They're pretty generous about that.
Yeah. Sega seems to be really wanting to dominate the news, though, this week, because they've announced Persona 5 will be launching in September here in Japan, which a lot of people forget that, yes, they also own the Atlas, so... but they're going to be going against Final Fantasy 15 in that month as well, as it comes out 2 weeks later. So that'll be something interesting to watch sales on. See...
But that's in Japan. When's it coming out in America? They haven't announced in America, right?
No, but it's a really weird situation because a lot of people think it will just be a worldwide release. They just haven't announced that yet.
That's not good.
That's just
I think
it'll be E3. They'll announce it.
Yeah. Because I feel like Persona is a big enough series in Japan that they're always going to do fine there, no matter when they release.
Oh yeah.
It's going to hurt. It's not going to do as well as it probably should. But here, no one will remember Persona 5 if it's around Final Fantasy 15.
That's the thing is here too. It's like Final Fantasy 15. Everybody here is Final Fantasy 15. They're waiting for it. And Persona 5, yes, but like it's very clear the buzz is for 15 right now. And I said that them announcing it in September, like September 30th for Final Fantasy 15 was kind of square moving whenever Atlas said summer. So I think they wanted to wait a little bit till fall to be like, hey, we're going to drop Final Fantasy 15 at the very end of September. It's perfect for your winter sales and Christmas and stuff coming up. I think if Persona 5 does not come out before Final Fantasy 15, I think that Sega might have to worry about it. That was kind of their play. Like, they had the ball in their court, and I think they might have just dropped it. It'll be interesting to watch. I'm excited for both.
What are you excited about in news, Corey?
Well, let's see. I mean, the big,
we had the ball in our court, and we passed it to Corey, and he dropped it.
I'm not excited. Go away.
Yeah, well, no, sorry. So the big one that I was excited about was the big one we already touched on. Obviously, was the Overwatch.
Chris killed Overwatch. Kill him.
Hey,
he killed our Overwatch buzz because he liked Team Fortress.
No,
Hey, 2 out of 3 is not bad.
Oh yeah. I like the game. It's just not a $40 game.
Okay, wait. If we were Famitsu, I'd give it a 9. Corey gives it what?
Probably give it a 9.
And Chris
8. Solid 8.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah,
It's
we're doing
great.
pretty good.
It's a great game.
Yeah,
We don't have the fourth.
it is.
Cecily, what do you say? We need a fourth reviewer. It's Famitsu.
You don't want her number. Because
Let's lowball a 6.
she was the one who was just like, I look at this game and I watch you play it, and it's just a worse Team Fortress, and I'm like, no, but they had enough time to
no.
make it better, and they didn't.
No, this is role playing. There's always that one Famitsu reviewer that's like 5. I don't care what you think.
Yeah, I
I say 4.
she said 4. Yeah, I don't know.
Yes,
It's not a bad game. It's not. I don't know. I don't like points, like 0.5 or point whatever. It's 8.5 probably. It's high. It's a high 8. It's a high 8. It's just not 9 for me.
I'm gonna blow through 3 things real quick. You guys can stop me if you want. Nintendo, Zelda, only thing
Yep.
at E3. I don't know. Like, I might be misreading that. Maybe people are misunderstanding. Maybe there's gonna be 3DS stuff, but they just said Zelda, Zelda, Zelda.
No,
that's it. That's all.
Actually, I think they did say Kirby will be there, but it's just like
Okay,
it's
thank
there
God.
because it's launching that week. Like it's not like they'll have like one little booth for it probably, but it's Zelda. Yeah,
And
it's Zelda.
The
Zelda.
NX will not be sold at a loss. They do not think that is a good business proposition for them.
This
They're
console
facing-
this console will be $600.
Yeah, like it's either going to be really expensive or maybe Sony did industrial espionage. They know exactly how powerful the NX is going to be, and the Neo just neck and necks it or beats it.
Yeah, this console
don't
is going to
know
be
what
an
Sony's
expensive
doing.
Nintendo console. Like
Like, if it is, I'm interested to see how this will play out. I hope it works for them. I'm just really curious. This is fascinating.
if
to
I'm
me.
a betting man, it's because it comes with a tablet that is not bound to your console that you can walk around in the world with, and it is up to par with an iPhone.
That's kind of where I'm going with.
So-
And the tablet will probably be optional in a certain SKU.
Yep, and I think it'll be cool. It's gonna be very expensive, and people will not buy it. But we'll see how that happens. Also,
And
Yeah, I'd be curious to see what they do as the anti-Nintendo guys. So
yeah. One thing that we mentioned earlier, I think, is that it might have been off camera or off mic. Steam has kind of fixed its reviews system on video games. So now it'll show you, like, overall what people think about this game, but then also, like, the last, what is it, like, month or so? Week? Like, recent
yeah,
review.
I think it's the last month.
Yeah. Which is
either
nice.
way, it's much better than it was. Much
Right.
better.
Because now
And-
you can
and
shit on a game for a week if their developer is just being shitty.
Yep.
Right. I think the perfect example of this is fucking Starbound.
Yeah.
That game started in early access. It was a fantastic idea. You know, it was a fantastic game for a while. Then just no updates
disappeared.
forever. It crashed and burned. Yeah, but you know, it's still like, oh, reviews mostly positive. So you have to scroll down and be like, oh, hey, no, this game is like not being updated. It's shit.
And correct me if I'm wrong, the developer started working on other games before this game was out.
I believe yep. And then I think they like tried to move everybody to the UK, and I can't remember. I thought that failed horribly, but I don't know. Luckily, I mean, to be fair, they have worked on the game more, but it's just, you know, that put a sour taste in my mouth. And
Yeah.
but the idea now is that you can look back, and it's this is going to be a game changer for early access games, because it's going to prevent shit like this, where people see, oh, overwhelmingly positive or mostly positive, hell, I'm going to buy it.
Yeah.
But then now you look like, oh wait, people are shitting on the game. I might look at the reviews and see why.
Yeah. I think
And that's why, you know, I always look at the reviews, especially on Steam, like go through, you know, the most popular, the top before anything.
yeah.
Because of that.
And it's always a good way to kind of, you know, test the waters to see what people are thinking about it right now. That's something I've always
Right.
been doing, is every time I go to a Steam page, I scroll down and I start reading the last couple weeks of reviews, because I don't want to buy a game that's just going to be shit immediately.
And hopefully this is part of a new wave of Steam improvements. Sorry, Corey.
Yeah.
Didn't mean to.
So one thing I was gonna actually mention is Chad, you mentioned I think it was last week or the week before about how unreleased Total War games are a buggy mess.
Yep.
So that's why if you go to like the Total War Attila page, it's like mostly it's like mostly negative because it's just people complaining about bugs and everything. So something like this, it's like if they actually fix the bugs and it's a good game, you don't really know that.
Yeah.
And see, this is. I mean, it's a very small improvement, but it's awesome.
Yes.
They needed it.
It's so much information with such a little change.
Right.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder why they didn't do it before.
Which, speaking of reviews, we've kind of been reviewing Overwatch throughout this whole podcast.
It all comes back to
It all
Overwatch.
comes back. When
Like it or not.
one thing I would say, like, I really try to go out of my way to make sure that we don't.
We're not shills.
Yeah, we're not. I would say we're not shilling out for other websites or whatever, but I would say if you want to look at a like review system that is very, very refined and really good, you
And
need to
selective.
go and look at GameSpot's review system and how they review their games from 1 to 10. Their rating system is 1 being abysmal, 2 terrible, 3 is bad, 4 is poor, 5 mediocre, 6 is fair, 7 is good. 7 is a good game, and I think that's where a lot of people are going to start looking at that and be like, no, 7 is bad. And it's like, no, it's good. 8 is great, 9 is superb, and 10 is essential. So that's why when it comes down to like Overwatch, I think it is a great game. It's just not. And you guys think it's superb, and it's right there, but it's not a like fair game. It's not bad. It's not mediocre. It's out there. So if you want to have a system in your head that's really not just douchey and just like, if it's not a 9 or a 10, I don't care, then like that's the reviews. That's the way you should look at it. Objectively, those are the numbers.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you should look at a numbering system. 4 out of 5, just times them by 2, and that's kind of like the same, but it's still not.
And one thing I'll add is the 10 is essential, not
Yes,
perfect.
it's not
Because
perfect.
you're never going to achieve perfection, so it's stupid. In that sense, it's stupid giving a game a 10 out of 10.
Right,
I love
yeah.
the essential because you're saying this is probably one of my favorite games. It's essential for you to try this.
Right, and that's
Yes.
I would agree with, because I mean, growing up, when people on like the playground, you'd be like, Ocarina of Time is perfect. Everybody says it. It got 10 out of 10. It's 100%. It's the best game ever. It's like, no, that game is not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. I will say, though, it is an essential game that you probably need to play for gaming history's sake or whatever. It's essential. It is a Zelda that defined action RPGs and role-playing games. It is essential. It is essential.
In an era where 3D action RPGs were struggling.
Yeah, it brought him back in a big bad way, and
Yeah.
I agree with that. And same with Final Fantasy VII. I'm not a fan of that game. It's great for what it was in 1997 or 8 or 6 or whenever it came out, but it is essential. It is essential to play that game and know that where it came from, Final Fantasy VI to here, is a big leap, and that
Mm-hmm.
is astounding, and what it did for the JRPG market in America. It is like essential that you know and have the gravitas of how great that was, and that is why it will be an essential game for me. That's where I usually sit with their. I don't agree with all of their reviews or anything, but their system is a very solid system that you should look at and at least go with that flow. Anytime I talk about a game and give it a number, I'm probably going to base it off of that system just because it is so refined. It is almost the essential review system for you to check out.
And without further gilding of the lily, Uncharted got a 10. Uncharted 4, that is.
Yeah, they gave it a 10. I think a lot of people are liking this game though.
Yeah.
But then again, it's
This-
Uncharted and it's Naughty Dog. What do you expect from them now? Like they
I was
know how to
worried.
make a game.
The development history of this was troubled.
Oh yeah.
There were rumors and people left. Like the lead of the last Uncharted games left. They brought in the Last of Us guys. Like there was a very real chance that this was not what it is now.
Yeah, and I haven't read that review yet, just because I don't see why it wouldn't get a 10. It's Uncharted. They're all great. They're fantastic games. But I haven't played any of them, so I've watched a lot of people play them. Like, I've watched friends play them. Like, I've sat in a room with them. Same with like Last of Us. But I'm still holding out for that Crash Bandicoot, Naughty Dog. Please come back. It's
Like
2016.
Cooper for
It's 20th anniversary this year of Crash Bandicoot. Can we get a new Crash?
But what other Perfect 10 games have we played from GameStop?
From GameSpot?
So-
GameSpot's 10 out of 10?
GameSpot. I confuse the two
I
all
do
the damn
too.
time. Someone needs to play chicken and just swerve out of the way. Like, change your damn name.
They actually used to be affiliated, which was awful.
I know. I know. It was
Because you would go into a GameStop and they'd be like, GameSpot news, I'm Mary Kish, and you're just like, please. I don't want to look at the employee and say, it's GameStop, it's GameStop, it's GameStop. Hey, GameSpot guy, shit! I've
type in the wrong
played,
website all the time.
I've played Phantom Pain, Grand Theft Auto 4, Soul Calibur, Mario Galaxy 2, Pro Skater 3, Chrono Cross. I played most of their games, actually. The only ones I would say the only one I haven't played is Journey, Witcher, and Uncharted 4.
I actually went back this week and played through most of Journey just to get a taste of it, and God, what was I waiting for?
Yeah.
Like,
I need to.
I was a firm believer in Flower, which is kind of the precursor to Journey, and like I made everyone play that. When I had the PlayStation 3 and everyone had an Xbox, I just handed the controller over to them. I was like, "Hey, play this game." But
Yeah.
Journey is it's essential. It definitely, in every sense of the word.
Yeah. I would say that with Phantom Pain being like the latest one for me. That game is fantastic. Yeah, and that's saying like the story is kind of like but it's Kojima and it's all great. It's a fantastic game. So I would definitely check it out. Like, Phantom Pain is so fucking good.
Yeah, that brings up an important discussion for tens. And did you feel like Phantom Pain's end had some problems? Like, did it feel cut short?
Yeah,
Like,
but
that was a major talk about complaint. And I'm actually on the side of it still can be a 10. One of my favorite games of all time, Xenogears, was cut short. And I still give it...
that's Konami's fault though, so I'm willing to forgive it a little bit, but it's still like the game is so fantastic and just how it plays. Gameplay wise, you could not even have a story in it and just have it be you run around the desert and like steal bases and stuff game, and that game would still be a 10 out of 10. Like, I would still give that game a 10 out of 10. I like the story. I love Kojima's work. He's fucking crazy. And those stories are always batshit, like, fucking throwing shit into a fan like crazy. I love them, though. I love them just because they are. No other game can do that and pull it off. And especially with good gameplay at the helm. Like, they knocked it out of the park this time. This was it was the perfect farewell. That's what it was.
I came across an article where they mentioned that EVE Online has had 1.5 million new players sign up in the past year, but the overwhelming majority of them permanently quit after 2 hours.
Duh. The
And-
game is so fucking complex.
Yeah, and they were trying to address it. I mean, see,
If there was ever a game, an MMO, that needed to like lower the complexity, it wasn't WoW. It was fucking
No.
Eve.
Yeah, well, the one thing is, I mean, there's a really good community, and there's a lot of people that want to help you.
That's
get
because they
into
want you
the
in their like cartel or whatever.
Well, yeah, but you know, they're willing to help you out.
Yeah.
So for someone like me, that's what I want in an MMO. I've tried to get into it twice. It is so much fun, but I mean, it's just such a time sink, and you're always going to be behind because of the real-time skill learning. You know,
Yeah.
it's just, yeah, it feels like unless you've been playing it for a long time, you're left behind, and you're never gonna get any
Yeah.
good. Or
I think-
get any.
I think the world and like I love reading the news about it. It's such a fascinating game. It's just I don't have the time or energy to devote to it.
Yeah.
But
Well, and I think actually my cousin's husband actually is a really big player, and I can't remember if it was 2 years ago. He had actually got tickets to the game to go to their event in Iceland.
oh shit.
Yeah.
Dude, my name's
So
on
they-
that statue in Iceland.
Oh shit.
Yeah, that like my player name because I was active during that like Great War that millions
Oh,
of
yeah.
dollars of ships went down. But yeah,
That's insane.
the game's fantastic though. Like I would say check it out. I think it's well, granted, that's this weekend and this will go up on
happens
Wednesday,
all the
and you've
time,
missed
though.
your opportunity. But it's
I mean, it's you can get a free trial, and
Yeah.
apparently they're trying to make it more user friendly and friendly for noobs, like slowly introducing you to the game.
mhm.
Apparently, you can play it like things that I've seen on Reddit. You can definitely play it and have fun without spreadsheets. That it's actually a fun game. Like
I just
Yeah,
see
you-
that as like the little
Two
excerpt from
differences.
Corey's review. Like, you know how they put those like little one sentence things about a
Yeah.
review? Like, you can definitely play it and have fun without spreadsheets.
that'll be on our
just
curator
like
page.
Overwatch.
Oh my god, yes.
Which, by the way, we have a Steam group, I think is what it is, and a curator page that will like slowly put out like little like one-liners that are just like buy this game and then whatever.
You
But
buy now. You buy this game.
Shampoo to spray.
yeah, we have a Steam curator page. It'd be awesome if people would follow it, and you could join our Steam group. I think it's just Stream in the Internet. You could search it. I'm sure there's a better link that I could give, but unfortunately, I do not have that present with me. I never have anything that points us to the direction of like where you should go to get all this. But
That's why I just edited it in.
yeah, I edited it in at the end. So
We'll get to it.
I will say that if you do have any questions for us, please email us at the number 3 MATI podcast@gmail.com. That's what it is, guys.
It's not a,
That's where you can find our email. Well, I check that pretty frequently. Mostly it's just like, come join our network, and I'm like, nah, I'm good. But yeah,
One thing I'll add about the curator: 150 characters is not enough to tell anything about a game.
right.
by not ending a sentence with a prepositional phrase at 150 characters, it's hard.
I will say that we can and will put up more reviewish type things on it, because it does also put in for us to link to a full review. So like Corey's dissertation that he gave us about Witcher 3 earlier, I will probably cut that into a video that may
Right.
not be in the podcast, and it may be in the
Well-
podcast when I listen to it back, but we
Well,
also
yeah.
have a lot of content that I might have to edit out today.
Well, and just keep in mind that I went short on that game.
Yeah.
Because we're in a podcast and I'm actually fairly tired.
Any
But versus like what we said about it on the what I said about it on the curator list, which is like nothing.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
good game.
We'll be putting out more discussion type reviews and what we think about games in the future. We just aren't fully there yet. We're still kind of like figuring it out. So bear with us. Thank you for everybody that's been listening to us. Like I check the metrics weekly, and it's like shocking. It's shocking how many people are actually listening. In a very good way. So thank you.
People are
This is-
listening to me. I've just been talking like no one was listening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, you're always being listened to. Like you don't know it, but they're listening. People are listening.
I'm gonna change my name on the podcast now. I'm gonna do a voice.
I think the only things left that we really have are Respawn Entertainment and EA are making a new Star Wars game. Get hyped for it, I guess. I mean,
Yeah.
I believe in Vince Zampella. I think he's got great visions for FPSs. Granted, they can get repetitive after a while, but I'm excited to see
Yeah.
what he's going to do with it. And Dishonored 2 is coming 11/11 this year, if anybody's excited for it. I'm excited because I think that chick looks fucking tight. That trailer at E3 sold me last year.
We'll see what they learned from the first game, but the first game, God, it was some of the worst case of buyer's remorse I've ever had. So I beat it within 20 hours, paid $60 for it, and I'm like, okay, so the only thing I have to show for this game is that it was okay, and I have TF2 items.
TF2 items though. TF2.
But it's like a little charm. It's not even a hat, man. The coolest thing was when for the Witcher 2 pre-order they gave away Geralt's hair for the Scout.
Yeah.
That was the cool thing.
You know how much that shit goes for? Like, at least, dude, that's what Team Fortress at least gives me money. Like, I've made money off of Team Fortress. I won't make money off of Overwatch, I promise you. But I've made.
Comes back to Overwatch.
I made, last Christmas, during Christmas sales, I got, a hat. I sold it for $70, legitimately. And I bought games, so thank you, Team Fortress, for giving me value out of that. So,
yeah.
I think that's everything, though, guys.
All right.
Well, and as long as the Star Wars game isn't another freaking Battlefront, then we're good.
Yeah, we'll see what it's like. Hopefully it's not Battlefront. Hopefully it's old Battlefront, because I want a new Battlefront.
Yes, it's not just a reskin Star Wars.
It's not
I
Battlefield.
think it's a third-person action game, so, hey.
Hey, Battlefront.
Oh, shit.
Let's make a real
Hey.
Battlefront. Ugh,
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
Dude, let's just stream us playing Battlefront 2.
I have it. I mean,
I know, I have it
can
too.
do
You
it.
bought it for me.
I'm down. We could
You
do
still
it
have to use
after.
GameSpy.
Oh my god! Fucking GameSpy. Let's not even get into GameSpy. That's it for fucking 3MATI. I'm Chris.
Great.
I'm Chad. One last thing to say about Overwatch.
No! Fuck Overwatch. That's the internet. We're done.
It all comes
PS4
back.
Masquerade.
Wait, that's not all. You can find us on Twitter at 3MATI Podcast. That's the number 3MATI Podcast. Keep up to date with us and all your gaming news there. Not only that, you can find us on SoundCloud at soundcloud.com/3MATI. That's the number 3MATI. You can kind of see where branding's going, right? And you can find us on iTunes. So go on ahead, hit that subscribe button, follow us in the future, and we'll see you in the next episode.
I worry about the client a lot.
Yeah.
I really do worry about that client.
Oh my god, that's one thing I didn't even bring up. We're bringing it back to Overwatch. We're bringing it back to Overwatch, guys. Fuck that client. That game fucking crashes and has more fucking bugs than any fucking game in the last fucking year that I've played. Fuck you, Blizzard, for putting out a shitty fucking client. Holy shit.
I updated my graphics drivers, and then the 59 frames per second thing was fixed. But then half the time it boots up in windowed mode still, and I have to press Alt-Enter. And that's not a big deal, but it's like, what the hell?
Wait, I think they just took a page from Bethesda's book.
Fuck.
I mean, look at it this way. It's still less buggy than fucking Fallout 4 at launch. So, come on.
I will say the movement in the game and the overall map design is fairly refined. It's just before you get into a game, I'm not that impressed with the launch of the client. It really needs some tweaks.
It kind of sucks. But
I'm gonna edit you to where you're gonna say Overwatch, it kinda sucks. That's what it's gonna be.
Fuck you.
And that's all we have this week on Overwatch, a surprisingly short discussion as both Chad and Corey hated the game, and I was moderately okay with it.
Yeah.
doesn't start it, I don't know what does.